Man is buried in a shallow grave in the east. As I open up this divine revelation to my fellow sojourners, I start off by saying, O eternal light, keeper of the east, awakening us the remembrance of our true origin. Let the veil of forgiveness be lifted, that the buried man may rise from his shallow tomb, and behold once again the dawning of the inner sun. Amen. To be buried in a shallow grave in the east is the soul's forgotten moment. The descent of divine consciousness into material awareness. Yet the east is not a direction on earth, but a symbol of awakening. The grave is not death, but sleep. This teaching unveils the path of the sojourner who must rise from the dust of illusion to remember his origin in the light. In the beginning was a word. The word descended and clothed itself in form. Every soul is that word. Hear me. Every soul is that word. Hear me. Every soul is that word now wearing the garments of flesh. To be buried in the east means to forget your divine origin while still facing towards the light of it. You are not buried in darkness. Your tomb lies where the sun rises. The east whispers resurrection, even as it holds the silence of burial. The grave is shallow, for no man is deeply separated from God, only lightly covered by the dust of illusion. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 14 declares, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light. The shallow grave represents the sleep of forgiveness. It is the condition of man who identifies only with his flesh and name. He walks among the living but is unaware of his eternal being. He confuses the tomb for home and the temporary for the eternal. Yet the soul that covers him is thin, a whisper of spirit, a flash of remembrance, and he feels movement beneath the surface. He hears the echo of the call, Adam, where art thou? And something in him begins to stir. The ancient builders placed their temples facing east, not by coincidence. For every true initiation begins with the remembrance of direction. When the soul remembers which way the light rises, it has already begun to awaken. From the east comes the voice, the divine remembrance. The spirit calls not to the flesh, but to the buried awareness within man. It says, You were never dead, only asleep. Rise, for your light has come. This call is the eternal word reawakening itself in the soul. It is the same voice that spoke at creation, the same whisper that moved the prophets, and the same tone that raised Lazarus from his tomb. And the glory of the Lord rose from the east, Ezekiel 43rd chapter verse 2. And the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. Malachi chapter 4 verse 2. When the sojourner rises from his shallow grave, he remembers, I am not this dust. I am the breath that animates it. He sheds the grave clothes of old thoughts and steps into the light of his own resurrection. This is not the resurrection of the body, but of awareness. To awaken is to remember that God was never distant, that heaven was always within, and that man's fall was but the dream of forgiveness. If ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above. The east is not outside you. It is the dawn within your soul. When you turn inward in prayer, you turn eastward. When you forgive, when you love, when you awaken, you rise in the east. Sojourner, the tomb was never meant to hold you. It was meant to teach you that you cannot die. The grave is shallow so that the resurrection may be swift. And every morning, as the light returns, you are invited to rise once more. Beneath thin dust I slept, dreaming I was lost among men. But the sun leaned low and whispered, awake, for you are never dead. The stones rolled softly from my mind, and I saw that the east was within. I stood, clothed in remembrance, and the light called me by my true name.